Hey, and I think we're live. Franklin, you think we're
Hey,
live?
I will look. Hold on.
No, we are live. I can tell. I got the thing going. Welcome to the Tesla Talks podcast. I think it's episode 9. I think I put episode 9 there. It may not be. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us, taking time out of everyone's busy schedules and, the way things are, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I just want to introduce our little intimate podcast night. It's myself and Franklin, Mother Frunker, joining us. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Always glad to be here.
With with everything going on and stuff like that, I guess some people couldn't make it. The usuals like Tesla Connect, Paul, and Mark, the backseat baller, couldn't make it tonight. So you know what? We're just going to do a little impromptu podcast. We've got some stuff we got to talk about, and we'll hammer those out, and we'll talk with you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Yes. If you're watching this, and I know it's late, right? As we're filming it, it's Tuesday night around 10:30 at night. So thanks if anyone's joining us live. I appreciate it. If you got any questions, leave it in the comments down below and stuff like that. And this genius here on my right is going to help me out because I'm not good at questions, and we'll do our best to answer them as best as we can. But
I'll try to answer them all at the end, and I will keep track of all the questions that get asked.
Yeah, yes, that's what I'm paying. That's what I'm paying him for, right? So
that check. No.
Speaking, yeah, it's in the mail. You didn't get it?
No.
Speaking of questions, folks, if you have any questions throughout the week, if you're watching this or listening to this, that's not live throughout the week, whatever, on any streamable. By the way, it's streamed on Apple iTunes, and it's also streamed on, I believe it's TuneIn Radio, so you can listen to it in your car, in your Tesla. But what I'm saying is, if you want to have any questions answered on our show, send me an email. The email address is teslatalksquestions with an S at gmail.com. Just send a question there, and we'll do our best. We've got a couple questions from early on in the week that we're gonna get to at the end of the show, but we've got a little bit of news that we're gonna talk about in the meantime. But once again, we have Franklin Mother Frunker on the show tonight. Thanks very much. As much as he's a busy guy, and trust me, I know off the air he's a busy guy. He's gracing us with his presence. Thanks very much, buddy. Once again. Before, whenever we have the special guests, like we had Brian on last week, and before we had Ryan, and we've had all the special guests from week to week, and we've always gone through a little impromptu, a little 2 to 5 minute, maybe 10-minute background story, I guess, about the special guest. And I always have Franklin on, or I always have Mark on, or I always have Paul on. And not that I ignore those guys, but I never get a chance to ask these guys about their private story and stuff like that, and their social insurance numbers and stuff like that. So seeing it's just the two of us tonight, we're going to try to hammer this out and try to get to the bottom of where Franklin is actually coming from, and just a little bit about him, how he got into Tesla, and how he's doing his YouTube channel and stuff like that. So Franklin, without any further ado, I've talked too much. I want you to talk a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'll tell you how I got actually into Tesla. I'm not a car person by any means. I know nothing about cars, truthfully. I have a computer science background. And one of my friends told me, he said, hey, you have to go test drive this car. So I went online and I booked an appointment, but I questioned him, like, it's a car, I don't really care. As long as it gets me from point A to point B. I was one of these people that said, like, I'll never spend a large amount of money on a car. It just doesn't make sense. So I made the mistake of going to test drive a Tesla. I went home that same night and put my deposit down because I had to have one. It is a computer on wheels. It is the most fascinating piece of technology that you can buy today, just because it does like updates, and well, if you guys own one, you know what I'm talking about. It's so amusing and so cool. I find Smart Summon amazing. Autopilot. I will never buy another car that does not have autopilot. Like, has to have something equivalent. But yeah, purely because of the tech and just how cool the car was from a technological standpoint. There's nothing really comparable out there.
Certainly, yeah, absolutely. Now, with that said, talking about autopilot and stuff like that, would you actually, in your next car, whether it's the Y or the Cybertruck, would you get FSD, or are you just happy? I mean, I know we spoke to Brian about that last week, and the difference between FSD and just standard, I guess, basic autopilot as we know it today.
So I think every order I have so far has FSD.
Really? Okay.
I'm a true believer in it. So I know we've seen the first released image of streetlights and stop signs and stuff, and we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Just to give you guys an idea, so if you look at Waymo, Waymo just finally went for funding a couple of months ago, about a month ago, and they received like in the billions of dollars. Don't put me on the exact number. But the thing that stood out to me was they mentioned that they have 25 million miles of driving data collected, real driving data, which is really fascinating, and it seems like a lot, but it really isn't. If you think like a million Teslas on the road, right, 25 miles each, that's 25 million. So
yeah, sure, good point.
When you start comparing like data collection, you can see that Tesla's actually going to ramp up pretty quickly as long as they're using the data productively, I guess. And you got to imagine that they're going to. So you got to imagine that FSD is going to be farther ahead than anyone else, and you got to imagine that it's going to be coming soon. When I say soon, within like the next 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my take on it. I think FSD is going to increase in value and increase in price, and I'm pretty optimistic. So.
Okay, you know what? You bring me to, and we're going to get back. We're sort of off on a tangent and talking about yourself, and I want to ask you a few more questions. But while we're off on this avenue talking about FSD, and you touched on a good point that I've had to explain to numerous people before, and I'd like for you to explain it to everyone about how you said FSD is going to get more expensive down the road.
So basically, it's a piece of software that you're buying, and any software that you buy, the more advanced it gets, the more expensive it becomes. So it's just a standard practice. FSD itself is going to be valuable. So if you think it's not just like taxis is a huge one, it's going to like disrupt that whole marketplace, that whole job industry. But then you have truck drivers, you have all sorts of jobs. So full self-driving as a software is going to be extremely valuable because it's going to make so much money for whoever owns the piece of technology. So we're talking like trillions of dollars that could be made with true FSD, right?
Exactly.
And again, I've seen a lot of comments online about it, and people are like, "Oh, my car can't do this," and they talk about like one particular case, right? But like, you're laughing, but it's exponential growth, right? It's not linear. So a lot of us, it's really hard to imagine exponential growth because we really deal with linear growth most of the time with everything we do, except for the coronavirus. That's exponential growth. So maybe you can see, you can kind of see what I mean, right? How something starts off small and then it gets bigger really quickly. I know that's probably a really bad comparison, but
no, well, it's a timely comparison, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so it's just like data collection and being able to expand things. So I don't know, I'm pretty optimistic.
I was going to say you are pretty optimistic. That's good. We need optimists like you in the world, so that's good. Now, how did you, getting back to your little bio thing that we're talking about? How did Mother Frunker come about and the channel?
Okay, so I was gonna go pick up my car. I needed a name for it, and I knew it had a frunk. So, play on words, I called it Mother Frunker. And I was like, this is temporary. I'll get around to changing it later.
Yeah.
That later never happened, and I just kind of stuck with it. In terms of the channel, so I went to a meet. I got my car May 30th, and then I went to a meet like maybe 2 months afterwards. And I wasn't sure. Like, I didn't know anybody in the community, and I just kind of showed up, and I was talking to people, and it's pretty amazing to me how many people who just got their car a couple of months before, like I did, and had no idea how to use any of the features on it. Like I'm there like tinkering around, trying to push the car to the extreme.
Yeah.
Played around with it. So basically what I want to do is create a YouTube channel directly to help people with a tech aspect of their car and how to get the most out of it in terms of like feature set and stuff like that. My channel since like expanded, and I try to do like entertainment videos and like a large range of videos now, but the main purpose, and I still really try to stick true to it, is to help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
I did notice that there is a huge trend on YouTube that people are only uploading videos for referrals. So
yeah, that's sort of slowed down as of late, but yeah, for a time last year, yeah.
When all the roadsters were happening, people were uploading like crazy. They removed the referral program, and you can see a lot of the people who used to upload, their uploads like dried up quite a bit. So I kind of made a point, like, I'd never want to mention my referral in a video besides the referral song I had. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Right. My referral link is actually at the bottom. Like, you have to scroll through it to find it in my description. So it's just something I've done, and it's not something I push because I really focus on helping existing owners rather than trying to convert new owners, I guess.
Yeah.
Is like the niche or the market that I try targeting. So
no, I completely agree with you, buddy, regarding the referral thing. I mean, yeah, there was a time and place where referrals, and like I just mentioned last year and the year before, it was crazy, and the referral program sort of got out of hand, and that's why Tesla took it away and brought it back in a different form. But it was also the fact where, yeah, I'd mentioned it to get people into Teslas and stuff like that, and it benefited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here and say it didn't benefit the actual person that had the referral code. It definitely benefited us in different ways, but now it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I know I'm not going to get a Roadster. I know I'm not going to get a Model Y. I don't even know. It's still, the jury's still out whether they actually are giving those away monthly and quarterly. But whether they are or not, that's a discussion. Actually, that's a topic maybe we'll talk about in the upcoming weeks.
Jot that one down, because I'm curious to see what more people think.
Yeah,
definitely. That's a good topic.
But it's just like, I mean, it's one of the things where you have enough, most of us have enough free kilometers or free supercharging kilometers or miles that it's like, you know what? I would like to see some of my other friends that I'm online friends with, or in my groups, my Facebook groups and stuff like that. I'd like to see their referral, because everyone gets a referral code, and that may be the problem. Is like the market, or not, I guess the market, the area with referral codes are so saturated now because so many people have Teslas, whether it's 3s or S's or X's, and now with the Ys. With the Y, you think of what the referral community will be like now with all these new people that didn't buy the 3, couldn't afford an S or an X, and basically waited for a Y. And if things work out like experts are saying, the Y will outsell everything.
Well, it's kind of like what you're saying, right? I have more kilometers than I need.
Yeah.
Do you know how many cars I've sold recently? When I say sold, I mean I'll be by a Tesla showroom, I'll be talking to someone. I tell them, make sure you go online, look up a referral code, use anyone's.
Yeah, you got it. And we have to share it.
Right? Because I don't need any more. And like I said, I don't even push them when I get them, right? And I don't have that many. I think I have like 6, which is still more than I need because I always charge up at home, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like I said, I don't know. The whole concept to YouTube to me when I started my channel was very people trying to push referrals and push sales, and I found there's like a huge void in just helpful videos, I guess. And
you're buddy, I'm not just sitting here blowing sunshine up your butt because I'm your buddy. I'm truly saying to the people out there watching and listening, if you don't know Franklin's channel, Mother Frunker, pause this video right now. I mean, people are the few people that are watching live, don't bother, but go to a different browser tab and check out Franklin's channel and subscribe to it, because if you want information, you want to learn how to do stuff, and he's very technical, I guess. Is that a fair word to call you? Very technical, very techie. He tells you how to do things inside and out, and he's very educational. I mean, there's people that are entertaining and somewhat educational, and then there's people that are just sheerly entertaining, and you probably don't get any education out of it. And teach their own, whatever you're looking for on YouTube. Whereas Franklin, he's educational, and he also brings obviously entertainment too with his.
I've been trying.
Yeah. Oh, you are.
Hard.
Buddy, you are. Oh, it is. It's yeah. Well, there's so many different with the internet being the way it is. There's so many different people's opinions, and just what somebody may think is entertaining, somebody else may not think it is. So I mean, it's just how it is, right?
Yeah, but I don't know.
You did an awesome job.
It's cool. I've been actually considering. I'll say this. This is the first time you'll probably hear it. I'm considering buying an iPhone, just purely to do stuff with it.
Hold on, I have to zoom in on you. Say it
again. You already heard me say it once.
Yeah.
Mainly because I do a lot of stuff with Android, stuff beyond the normal realm of possibility, I guess. And I feel like you can do more with iPhones. It's just people haven't used it to its full ability yet.
Yeah, no, you're probably. I mean, you know better than I do, but your Tasker stuff that you do, how you basically push the envelope.
Yeah, I've been meaning to actually do one about how to access the Tesla API, so people actually understand where all their data is.
Yeah,
people got a lot of worry when they use third-party stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it'd be kind of interesting to show how that all functions and works. So
yeah, I was one of them
on my list.
Yeah. And you can't blame people in this day and age. You can't blame them for being a little paranoid, right?
Oh no, definitely.
All the data leaks you hear of every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but yeah, that's my story, and that's why I started my channel. It's
awesome, buddy. I mean, I knew it because I know you, but it's good for people that are listening out there that hear you on a weekly basis, or even watch your and subscribe to your channel and follow you. They may not know that background, so I'm glad you're able to share that and be open with people. I mean,
real quick, how about yourself?
Oh no, buddy, you don't. We what is it? We're 17 minutes in. Unless you want this show to go an hour and a half, no, you don't want. I could talk on forever. No.
Could you do it within 3 minutes?
No, mine's boring. You know what? We'll save that for another time.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it.
Yeah, hold me to it. I'll. It's really nothing to it, but yeah, we'll do that another time. I appreciate the calling me out last minute, spur of the moment. I really like that. That was fun, buddy. Let's get to the news, though.
All right. So, touchless service.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun. If you're watching this, ignore that last slide I put up. Touchless service. Now you can talk about this. Yep. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just gonna introduce it. Touchless service. What's going on now with everything in the world? It's what's needed to keep companies working and functioning and stuff like that, and Tesla has a very unique way of doing it. And you got to get your car serviced. I mean, one of the things that came down here in Ontario, we're in Canada here, for anyone that doesn't know, we had basically a lockdown or a shutdown of our province, except for things that were deemed essential by the government. And one of the things that were deemed. What are you laughing at?
So Ontario's new slogan is "We're open for business."
Yes.
Right, for those who don't know. And if you look at the necessary, what's deemed acceptable, the necessary, the essential services.
Essentials, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much we're open for business.
Yeah, and we don't want to get political, but yeah, I found that a little shocking, and we got to flatten the curve and everything, and really almost anything. My wife told me yesterday that the Brick, and I don't know if the Brick is a Canadian store. It's basically a furniture store. She told me the Brick was open, and I'm thinking,
we have a dollar store that's open.
Yeah, the dollar store is open. I mean, I don't get it. Anyways, my point is, you got to get your car maintenance done on it. You got to get your car fixed if there's a problem on it. Not that Teslas have a lot of maintenance, but our Tesla service centers are open. And before it really ramped up, Franklin, you had an opportunity to check one out and see what it was all about.
So I actually saw the touchless service and also saw the touchless car delivery. So I can talk about both.
Cool.
So touchless service, I actually went in not for service, well, kind of for service, to get the hardware 3 upgrade. So that's why I was there. It wasn't something wrong with my car, right? Because as you said, not a lot of service on a Tesla. But anyway, you drive in and you park, and there's a guy who already comes up. He's pretty far back, and he says hey, park here, and then he goes behind a rope, and like imagine all the counters in front of you.
Yeah.
There's a rope in front of it, so you can't go anywhere near the counter. You're like 6 feet back,
Wow.
and there's a table in the middle, and you have to walk up to the table, and the guy will bring the form. He'll drop the pen, and then he'll back up. You move forward. You give him your information. You sign off, and then you move back. And while this is all happening, they have service people who are there washing down your handles, your seats, your steering wheel, everything
Really?
into your car.
Wow.
So they don't go near you at all. They're constantly like going back and forth. There's ropes, there's tables. The pens are the pens are cleaned to make sure that you're using a nice fresh pen. That every single portion of your car is cleaned when you're going for service, and there's like literally no interaction with anybody. There's no. It felt very safe. Like it felt like a very clean environment where they took like extreme measures to make sure everything was running smoothly, which is good. Like I felt good to be there. That I was getting my upgrade, and I didn't feel like I was compromising my health.
You felt safe.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay. Now, I guess this is probably all learned from China, I guess, right? I guess when their stores in China, when they were going through it a few months ago, they probably adopted a lot of those and brought them over here.
Yeah, but it worked out well. Touchless delivery was interesting.
Sorry, before you get to touchless service delivery, getting back to the service, did you wait for your car or did you get a loaner?
So they gave me a loaner, which I had to bring back because it needed service because I had a nail in the tire.
That's right. Yeah, I remember.
So the loaner they gave me was an S60. So this thing didn't have autopilot, no nothing. And for those who don't know, Tesla changed their policy about last year at some point, saying that all cars had to be locked to chill mode because customers were like, I guess, abusing the acceleration. So I brought mine back, and I'm like, hey, it had this nail, so they exchanged it for me. They gave me a new one. So they gave me a P85D that was like fully open. So I got like insane plus on that thing. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun that day. So
okay. The reason I asked is I forgot that you actually got a loaner. Do you know, like, if someone had to stick around, what the waiting room layout would have been?
So the day after me, Aaron had to go pick up his.
Yeah.
To go do the same thing with his, and they offered him a Uber card. The waiting room was, from what I'm told, again, not firsthand experience, right? It was very clean. He said that no one was there. He was literally the only person in the waiting room. So I don't know about sitting arrangements and stuff like that, but from what I understand, he said it was just like they cleaned it down, right? They made sure everything was like clean and as safe as possible.
Wow. Strange world, eh? Strange world we're living in. So moving on to the delivery, you have some experience with that too?
Yeah, so I was at the service, and then we went to the delivery, which was like a block over, and we saw the touchless deliveries, which is really interesting. So you can't actually go inside the building. All the cars that are ready to be picked up, they had them all parked outside, like not close to each other, like a gap apart. And then when you show up, they'd say, hey, what's your name? They'd leave like the paperwork inside the seat. You'd go inside the seat, you'd sign everything. They would never go inside the car. The windows were all rolled down on all 4 seats. The paper was sitting inside the car ready to go. So I'm guessing they cleaned it all down, put the paper in there, and then just kind of left the car there. You show up, you get the paperwork. You sit inside the car, you get the paperwork, you sign it off. I don't know how they handed it off to the person. I imagine you like put it on the floor or something, and then they come and pick it up. But I saw the delivery specialist or delivery guys talking to the person, trying to explain to them how to set up the car. And we're not talking like, window person standing by the window. He was like 3 feet back from the window that's rolled down, talking to the person. So it's really good to see. They weren't allowing anyone into the service center. That was all roped off. It was, they did a really good job. Like, I was really impressed at how well service and deliveries went, considering it was completely touchless. Like, I've seen some businesses operating since we've gone into lockdown and then whole non-essential stuff. and some you can see that they don't put in the same effort. I know Tesla's got some slack online through Twitter, and I've seen it. You know, the shorts going rampant, but my experience was like fantastic. Maybe it was the location I was at. They took extra care. They really cared, but at least my experience was like a really positive experience. So
okay, and a shout out to that location. Was it Lawrence?
Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Toronto, Lawrence. Excellent job.
Good job. Good job. Yeah. You know what? I mean, not to make light of the situation that's going on in the world, but I was saying to my wife a couple days ago, you do notice, like just like you said, the businesses that you have to go into for whatever reason you have to go into lately, and you can notice the ones that have gone to the trouble and taken the time to keep everyone safe. And I was joking with my wife, and once again, like I said, not to make light of this, but I said to her, you know, at the end of the day, or at the end of when this is all over, there's a few things that we've adopted as a society that I wouldn't mind keeping going forward.
Well, one of them is the limit the number of people who are allowed into Costco.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I went in because they were limiting the people in, and I went like where it was like absolutely dead. I was like 1 of 10 people in all of Costco.
That's what I've heard. I have to go there probably later this week, but I've heard from people that have gone there. Yeah, that's why the lineups are outside, because inside they only have a few people, and it feels like you got the whole warehouse to yourself.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Well, yeah. I went the first night. There was a huge line, so I like went home because you know all that gas I pay with my electric car, right?
Yeah.
So I went back the next day, and I was like, "Oh, there's no lineup today. Perfect." So I went straight in, and there's no line. It was like I felt like their whole store was open just for me.
That's awesome. Eh? Yeah, it's like private shopping.
Yeah, you know those commercials where like you have the car driving around a busy street, and all the cars in the traffic like fade away, and it's the only car driving.
Yeah,
that's how I felt, but shopping at Costco.
Wow.
Cool. We're like totally off topic.
Yeah, no. Well, getting back to the topic and the delivery, that's cool how they're doing it. And I mean, as of tonight, they're at the end of the quarter, right? So they've got to push, you know, this like they do every end of quarter, the last quarter push or whatever it's called. And I just spoke to my buddy Ryan Shaw and saw his videos of how he took delivery and stuff like that. And yeah, and he was saying in his videos how he got his car, he's in California, he got his car delivered to him. Someone drove out, and the car he was trading in, they drove back to get home type of thing. And everything, was completely touchless. They kept their distance, everything. The paperwork that he had to sign, just like you said, was left in the car and everything. And if I remember correctly, he said that they had a pen to sign, and then they let him just keep the pen. They're like, we don't want the pen back.
I can see that.
Yeah, like really, at the end of the day, it's a pen.
That makes sense now. Because on my Model Ys, they said that they're just gonna like drop them off at my house when they're ready to go. Like that's the last communication I got from Tesla about it. So who knows? I mean, it's very possible. I'm just gonna like show up home one day. There would be some bunch of Model Ys on my driveway. Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue into our next discussion about the slowdown, and actually it's not a slowdown, it's actually a shutdown of the production in the Fremont factory. So really, okay, basically they're not making anything now, right? They're just, I don't know what kind of staff they have in there doing just tweaking and retooling and stuff like that. It's someone brought up a point on one of the other podcasts I was listening to, that this may be a positive thing outside of what's going on in the world for Tesla from a production standpoint. This may become a positive thing in terms of them being able to shut down, fix things, improve things, whether it be on the line for the machine that builds the machine, or the actual just a tweak of the redesign of the Model 3, for example. The difference between, and we've touched on it last week, the few differences between the Model Y and the Model 3, the small little small improvements.
I know when they're ramping up the Model 3, they did a shutdown for 4 days or something, 5 days, a couple of times.
Yeah,
just to tweak the production line.
Yeah, and they do that at a sacrifice, right?
Yeah, now they don't have a choice. So now it might be like we don't have a choice, but we can tweak it when it comes back up.
Yeah. So
they also kind of have an advantage too, right? Because their plant in China is still running, as far as I know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
and they're increasing every day. Their output.
yeah, so that's like an advantage too, because they can also take data from the plant in China to bring it back to the US and be like, oh, we can make tweaks here and tweaks there.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's a good opportunity from a bad situation that they're able to. So basically, my question to you: do you think let's just take let's take two things for example, the heated radar, or the heated radar, that's the difference between on the Y than the 3, and the heat pump. Take those two. You think that with this shutdown, and we don't know how long it's going to be, keep in mind, you think that that's enough time, or Tesla will use this as an advantage to maybe tweak the designs for the 3, that maybe when they start ramping up the 3 again and they go back to production, that maybe you might start seeing 3s spitting out with heated radars?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I don't know about the size difference of what's needed,
Yeah.
or the cost difference, but I mean, Tesla's been known to do changes like this.
Yeah.
Right? To their vehicles, where they like add stuff and improve stuff, because you're not buying a 2020 Model 3, you're just buying a Model 3, which is the best possible version at the given time, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they don't, like traditional car manufacturers, we all know they don't do model years. I mean, on your title or your registration, it'll say 2018 or 2020. But at the end of the day, if something needs to be improved, and they can improve it down the line between Monday and between Wednesday, you're going to see that change, right?
Yeah.
With other manufacturers, as we all know, you didn't get this, well, wait for the 2020s.
Well, we're fortunate too, because it's all software, right?
Yeah,
which again is I find so fascinating. Like I can't find it mind-boggling that no other car company uses software the way Tesla does.
I know. It's
That's
crazy.
why I was like, yeah, that's what it all boils down to. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's possible that Tesla makes that change for Model 3s. But again, I'm not a hardware expert by any means, or manufacturing expert.
Hey, buddy, no, nor am I. I'm just thinking it's an opportunity while it's down. That, like I said, it's an opportunity to make a few positive things from a bad situation. Because at the end of the day, they've shut down. They've basically killed their last week, if not week and a half, which we all know for Tesla. At the end of a quarter, that last week to week and a half is a big, huge push, and it's a big number that goes towards their final numbers. So
I kind of hope Tesla changes that. Instead of doing big, massive pushes at the end of every quarter.
Yeah,
they kind of like keep a consistent push throughout the quarter, rather than like.
Yeah, well, it would be, and I think ideally with China now online, and when they get a Gigafactory Berlin online, built up and going, then they won't have to worry about making, like as they're doing now, making all the cars for overseas in the first half of the quarter and ignoring North America, because that's basically what they're doing. And then at the tail end of that quarter, then they just concentrate on North America.
Well, they need to put the Cybertruck one in Canada. Just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, we'd all wish that, but it ain't gonna happen. We do have some Cybertruck news. So if you're a Cybertruck fan and you're listening, stay tuned. I don't know when it's coming up, but it's coming up. A little bit of Cybertruck news, and I know the last few weeks has been a Model Y dominant in the news and the podcast. But you know what? That's what news is for Tesla these days. It is. We can't ignore it, right? And really, what's going on with the Model S that's newsworthy lately? Not much, right?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Like, I didn't hear about anything.
Yeah,
so it's not at me here now.
Yeah, no. I'm just trying to say this is the reason why. If you've been listening the last few weeks, it's very Model Y dominant, because that's what it is. Speaking of Model Y, and speaking of the production and everything like that,
well,
go ahead.
Real quick, Dax. I searched up Model S under news. There's a video that someone put out, a Model S versus a horse.
Oh, I saw that.
Okay.
Have you seen that video?
No.
It's like it's a race, I guess you could say. It's not even a 0 to 60, but it's on grass. It looks like it's somewhere in Europe, and the horse and the Model S. It goes. They both go off when someone you're watching it, and then it goes around a barrel or a tree or something like that, and it comes back. I don't want to give away the ending. You got to go check it out. Just Google it. You'll find it. As fast as Franklin found it there, you'd be able to find it.
Okay, so there you go. Model S news. You wanted it, we got it.
That's it. Yeah. Moving on.
Sorry.
No. I'm just saying that's it. That's Model Y. That's Model S news. So we can move on. And what we're going to move on to, let me see if I can do this without doing that full screen there. There. Okay. The Model Y. I guess this article, I want to get in the habit, and I know I've been terrible at it the last few podcasts about crediting these news articles. This one's from Tasmanian. I haven't heard it on any other Tesla news site or EV news site, so they got the exclusive somehow. And you know what? They've got pretty reliable track record, because they also had the measurements and the dimensions for the Model Y before it actually came out. And if I'm not mistaken, they were pretty accurate in their numbers. So this one is about the Model Y trailer mode. And it looks like it's going to be in a future update. I know you don't know much about trailering and towing and stuff like that, Franklin. So you don't have to put 2 cents in if you don't have any. But basically, in a nutshell, they've got some screenshots of the electrical connection, basically the hookup, the electric hookup, and it's going to be a 7-pin. Now, anyone that's not familiar with towing and stuff like that, a 7-pin is for heavier duty trailers or RVs, or you don't really find them on boats too much. The boats are usually a 4-pin, a flat 4-pin. But so for a 7-pin, you've got basically a hot wire that gives power to the trailer, whatever you're pulling, and it also helps out with the electrical brake system that would have to be on most trailers over a certain amount of weight. And the towing capacity, as we scroll down here more, if anyone's watching the video of this, if you scroll down here, they've managed to, which I was pretty impressed, because I didn't think they were going to come close to this number. They got 3,200 pound towing capacity for the Model Y, but it's only in the 5 or fewer seating capacity. So basically, the 7-seater that's not even out yet, it's supposed to be out last or next year, whenever. It's not going to be. It's not going to include towing on that, which I guess makes sense. I guess whatever towing configuration or hardware they need for the back of that bumper, they can't get it with the 7-seater configuration, or maybe it's a safety thing. They don't want to put a third row back there with you towing something behind. I don't know. But for whatever reason, pretty impressed with the towing capacity, 3,200 pounds. I thought seeing what was the Model 3? Do you remember what Model 3 was in Europe? I think it was 19, I want to say.
Yeah.
Just shy of a ton, like shy of 2,000 pounds. So for this one to be 32, I mean, I'm quite impressed. I mean, ideally, I wish it was 5,000 like the X, but I knew realistically that wasn't going to happen. So 3,200 pounds is pretty good. What else? Oh, and like I said, the limitation there is 5 or fewer seats or occupants, and it'll only come in the 20-inch tire configuration. So basically, I think if you've got the 21-inch wheels, basically the performance, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get the tow package.
So we kind of talked about this when we're talking about the Cybertruck. Who knows when? We're talking about a trailer mode of some sort where it would integrate with the screen software and kind of work with basically what these leaks are showing, right?
Yeah, and on the X. I got Y in the brain. On the X, looking at these icons here, and it shows you and it denotes what they're when it's active and when it's not active, or when there's an issue or something like that. These are the same things that are on the X. So they've just taken the software from there and integrated it into the Y. Yeah. But that's it. I mean, this came out, and looking at this article, the date, March 14th, but nobody was really talking about it. I think Ride Lightning, Ryan talked about it this week or last week or the week before. But really, other than that, I mean, maybe I just missed it, but I haven't heard many people talking about it. So when I saw this, I was quite pleasantly surprised, because some people that have already got the the Ys have pulled off that little latch, that little, not latch, the little flap on the back bumper to see what was behind there. And were sadly disappointed when they realized there was nothing down back there.
Yeah, you got to think it might be the first batch of them.
That's what I'm thinking.
And you have a pedestrian sound, right? So you got to think that they're still tweaking and adding and stuff. Just real quick, Craig Thomas said that it's great news about the towing. Just to be able to tow a utility trailer would be nice.
Well, that's exactly it, right? And I know in Europe they tow a lot of utility trailers. They're not really big into the RVs and big hauling stuff. So yeah, that would be great for European customers. And speaking of Europe, a lot of people think, oh, this is just going to be for Europe, just like how the Model 3 is, because here in North America, the Model 3 still has no official towing capacity. But this is not just for Europe. They haven't come out and said that, but there is a hint in one of these screenshots. Where was it? Right here, they say, note, in Canada, towing limited to 89 kilometers or 55 miles an hour. So whether how true that is, I never heard of a tow limit in Canada. But they're talking about Canada, so they're basically referencing North America, at least Canada. I mean, I can't imagine it would just come to Canada and not US. That'd be a first. Yeah, it would be a first, and that would be, I think, people would don pitchforks and stuff like that.
Hold on, no. We got the winter tire package, the crappy mud flaps that they gave us.
Oh, yes, that's
our first. This would be our second.
That's our first. Hey, Glenn. Glenn's in the chat there. So quite refreshing, and to a lot of people, maybe some people that were holding off to find out if this thing actually did tow, because we saw prototypes going down the road with tow hitches on it and pulling bikes and had bikes and stuff like that on it, but we never knew for sure. So this, and once again, this is not official. This is from I guess some kind of a leaked document from Tasmanian, but like I said at the beginning, their track record is very trustworthy, and don't quote us on this or don't quote them on it, but it looks like this is going to be a reality. When? Who knows?
I think it's one of the better Tesla news reporting sites that kind of goes under the radar. I really like them. Yeah, they are. They very are good. They very are good. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I meant. Yeah. Yeah, they're very good. I got you.
I know you got me.
It's late. I get it.
Yeah, that's my excuse. It's late. It's late at night. Moving on to the next. Let me just pull this up here. Moving on to the next Model Y story, and I apologize. It seems to be all Model Y stuff, but we've talked about that already. Why it is why it is.
Why?
Yeah, you see what I did there. This story is coming from Electric. They're talking about Tesla starting preparations for the Model Y, the rear-wheel drive one, the deliveries. They also talk about how demand has dropped and stuff like that. But what I wanted to touch on in this article, just in general, is, and we've talked about this on the podcast a few weeks ago with, I think it was Dirty Tesla, Chris, and we went around the room getting everyone's opinion whether they think the rear-wheel drive would ever come to fruition, and it looks like it is, according to Electric. At least it looks like some people had gotten emails to, and here's a screenshot of it, gotten emails from Tesla to prepare their orders or get their stuff in order to get delivery of a rear-wheel drive. Now, with everything shut down, I don't know if that's what they're going to concentrate on when they do get up and running. Like I said, Electric was also touching in this article on the fact that there was a drop in demand. And yeah, I mean, that's going to happen with what's going on in the world and the uncertainty, and I guess you could say the financial collapse of the stock market and stuff like that. Yeah, I can see that there probably was a lot, if not still is, a lot of people backing out of a $50,000 car purchase. You can't blame them, right? I mean, it's a lot of money, and when your livelihood or your job is in question, I mean, people gotta be responsible, fiscally responsible. So whether they cancel their orders or not, and whether demand is down, that we'll have to wait and see. I can imagine it would be. It's realistic to think it would be, but they're at the end of the day. The fact of the matter is, right now they're not making any cars anyway. So
yeah,
getting go ahead.
So I don't know. I understand. Like, it's possible that, and it's probable that people did cancel their orders because they are probably out of work or whatever it may be. Their financial situation changed drastically over the last couple of months. So it seems very realistic. It's also possible that to make the rear-wheel drive version takes less parts, and because they're not manufacturing parts in general, they can use the parts that they have to push out cars easier, I guess.
Yeah.
So they kind of cover. They're still making some money with what they built. So it's kind of like optimizing what they built.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're like, I'm sure demand has dropped to a certain degree, but that'd be for like every company, every product worldwide, right? Except for toilet paper. But I'm sorry. But let's take a minute. No. But yeah, no, I think if you can sell a car and you're using less parts and you can still sell the car, it makes sense to make it and sell it, right? So if they can't manufacture parts to make the full all-wheel drive or performance model, but they have enough to build like a bunch of rear-wheel drive, it just kind of makes sense to push us out the door. So they kind of get money, right, for what they've done.
Exactly. And it could be one of those things too where they're thinking, okay, well, when the economy is in the toilet, referring back to your toilet paper reference, when it's tanking like that, maybe people are backing away on their performance orders or their all-wheel drive, but we all know that the rear-wheel drive is a little bit cheaper than at least the all-wheel, but maybe that's enough to get people to say, you know what, I'll just not go for the all-wheel, or I won't go for the performance, and I'll just get the rear-wheel drive. So maybe it satisfies that part of it too.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that because like, if you save like 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or it's like, that could be the difference maker between someone getting a Y versus no Y, right? So
exactly. Well, what is? Don't quote me on numbers here, folks, but and you don't need to bother looking it up, frankly. But I'm thinking that performance is 66 or like mid 60s, and then this long range rear-wheel drive, I think, is 50. So. And like I said, I may be wrong, but even if they're close to those numbers, that's like 15 grand difference. That's a good chunk of change.
Long range dual motor.
I knew you'd look it up.
2,000. Performance is 84,000.
Okay, these are Canadian prices, right?
Yeah.
I knew you'd look it up, even though I said you don't need to look it up.
But so hold on, this is just rear-wheel drive, though, right?
This is just rear-wheel, yeah.
So it's not listed on here.
No, that's the thing. They that's true. They don't even.
I have to go to my purchase order if you really want to know. I think it's like 64.
No, I said to you from the very beginning. Don't have to look it up. Please don't go to your purchase order.
I think it's like 64,000. So it's like a $20,000 difference.
Yeah.
From
So
this to performance, roughly.
20 Canadian, which is what, 5,000 US. But my point is, all jokes aside, it's a considerable chunk of change that may make someone either back out or say, you know what, I'll just downgrade for now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Until things are more sure.
It seems like a good theory. I mean, the world's kind of in a messed up state, so.
Oh, tell me about it.
Knows? Yeah.
And I did promise anyone that's still listening that's interested in Cybertruck news. I do have. I sort of, you know what, I oversold this. I apologize, because now thinking about it, it's not really Cybertruck news. It's just a little bit of statistics, and it's more for Canadians. So this article comes from Drive Tesla Canada, which used to be known, and they just changed their name just recently. It used to be Tesla in Canada, I believe. Yeah, now I forget. It's just happened recently, but I forget already. Anyways, these guys are a great resource for Canadian Tesla content. The Cybertruck.
Tesla in Canada. Sorry, I was looking at their Twitter profile today, and I clicked it and I was viewing their website, so I'm trying to piece it together. Yeah,
because I think their Twitter handle is still the same, right?
Yeah, correct. They do a good job.
Oh yeah, awesome. I think Darren is the guy that runs the site.
Yeah,
Does an
he's
awesome
out
job.
west, as far as I know. Yeah,
as far as I know, yeah, I think so. Anyways, his article here is about the Cybertruck, the reservations. Now, what it is what they're saying is Canada is second, obviously, to the U.S. For demand and for orders for the Cybertruck, which is pretty interesting to know. And they, what they do is they had some data from, where is it? This website called cybertrucktalk.com. Go to it if you haven't been there. It's a good bit of information. I just checked it out briefly before we came on. And what they did is they gathered reservation information from over 1,800 members of their site, and they compiled the data and they listed into the top 10 countries. And obviously, the U.S. is number one with 76.25% of the 1,800 people were from the U.S. And then second was Canada. Now, mind you, it was considerably less than the 76%. It only came in at nearly 10.5%. But still, I mean, from there, it dropped like a stone. And the third place was Australia, which was just over 3%. So, and then it goes into a lot of European countries, which were just over or just under 1%. So, I mean, it's pretty cool to see that at the end of the day, what I took from that is that over 85% of all the orders are in North America, which most people would say, well, duh, no kidding. Of course it would be. But, you know, it's still good food for thought.
I think the orders will grow exponentially when that car's on the road.
Oh, buddy, yeah.
We had, we're at the supercharger, the V3 supercharger last week.
Yep.
And a guy in a truck drove by and he's like, electric's not the future. And he kind of drove off.
Really?
Which is too bad, right? Because, like, he's not wrong. Electric is not the future. Electric is now.
A gasshole.
Yeah, electric is now. But
yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you, he's the kind of person where, you know, he doesn't believe in electric vehicles and he sees them as whatever it is. And, you know, the Cybertruck's going to come out and be, like, just based off stats and everything you've seen so far, it looks pretty amazing. Yeah. So, I foresee it selling to a lot of people, and someone like him, it's probably going to change people's minds, and it's going to grow in popularity quickly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to change people's minds. Now, someone like him, that's interesting. I never heard that story, and you tell me quite a bit, but I haven't heard that story. But I'm thinking someone like him that would take the time to go out of his way and roll down his window and drive by and shout that out. He's probably, I'm guessing, someone that you can't change his mind.
I think he'll be amazed. And so Bucci and I were talking about this. So you can't really damage a Cybertruck, which is interesting within itself.
Well, see, that scares me. Just the fact that we're all saying this, that we can't damage. Like it's almost like an open public dare. Like I'm when I get my Cybertruck, I'm going to worry about that more than I'm worrying about my Model 3 and where I park it now. Just, you know what I mean?
You're not joining my sledgehammer party?
Hell no. You're nuts. No, you know what I mean though? Like it's almost like it's daring everyone. It's trying to get everyone to do something, whether throw something at the glass, because you know people are going to be doing that, throwing something at the windows, or someone trying to kick the panels or the doors or the. It's going to happen. It's just.
So let's just assume for a sec that everything's fine and nothing breaks.
Okay.
Do you know how much fun it'd be to have two of them in a parking lot where some idiot's taking up like 3 spots or whatever, and you kind of like box them in? And you know how much fun that'll be? And then like you see them come back and get frustrated, and then you smart summon them away. I mean,
yeah, you know what? Listen, I totally get what you mean, and these idiots, they trigger me at times, and then other times I just ignore them.
I'm just saying the trolling opportunities with this thing,
yeah,
going to be top notch.
Yeah,
to none.
We got to be careful though, because we may end up being the a-holes that we're complaining about now in 2 years. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah. The public may not tolerate that too much. And I know I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying I won't partake, but I'm not saying that.
You heard that here. Dax is joining my sledgehammer party. He said he's going to partake.
On your Cybertruck, sure. Not on mine.
I got steel balls for you, Dax.
By the way, Glenn in the comments below said his Model Y all-wheel drive was 72,300 Canadian.
Yeah.
So
mine was 65, I believe, for rear wheel.
okay,
but I added full self-driving, so it came out to 74, I believe.
Okay,
Which
well, that's $7,000 difference, right? Like $7,000 just for that little bit of a jump between the two motors is. Well, I know we're going back. If you just joined us, we were talking about that another topic before we went on the Cybertruck. So, anyways, yeah, the Cybertruck.
What I really want to know about the Cybertruck is what's the Lego demand for the Cybertruck? How does the numbers break down?
The what demand? Sorry.
The Lego Cybertruck demand.
Oh.
Not the Lego, the Hot Wheels one. Sorry. Do you know the special limited edition Hot Wheels?
Yeah. You're wondering about that. You're inquiring about that because you want to make sure you get yours, right? Yeah. Which I'm totally with you, buddy. I don't blame you for being concerned about that or being curious about that either. Yeah.
You think there'll be a delay on that?
With what's going on? Oh yeah. You know what? I think with what's going on in the world, I think we should expect a delay in everything. I mean, like every aspect, every facet of life.
Just getting a Tesla delayed is just normal practice, though, right? So
yeah, at least for us Tesla owners or Tesla enthusiasts, we can cope with delays a little better than maybe most of the general public because just how it is.
You know, we got to thank Elon Musk. He's been training us.
Oh yeah, all this time,
helping us all this time, yeah.
And who would have known, right?
Yeah, he's been preparing us.
You
want to jump to questions now, or
yeah. It's just the news in brief, and when I say in brief, it really wasn't brief. But if you know me, you know that nothing is brief. Okay, I don't know. I've got a couple questions here. If anyone is listening and you got a question, and the live part of it, just let me know or let Franklin know.
It doesn't have to be Tesla related either.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything.
Yeah, if you just want to know about stuff in life or tell us about stuff, yeah, we can talk about that. But anyways, I've got two, and the screen is so small I can't see which one I'm bringing up, so I'll just wing it. Okay, it's a question from Jeff. He's asking, and he put his last name in there just for, I respect his privacy, so I'm not going to say his last name. I don't even know. It may not even be his last name. But he's wondering, will Battery Investor Day be in April or it will be postponed? And I guess what he's referring to with everything going on. And will they change the format to keep people distant?
So I want to say, I believe that Elon Musk said that it's going to happen still. I didn't know. I'm trying to find it. I know he tweeted it out. It's hard now. If I had the question before, we found it.
Oh yeah. Well, if you want a second to look for that, when I got this question, I did. Believe it or not, I actually did some homework and I did some research to try to find. So I did a Google search for Battery Investor Day Tesla, and I want to see what people have been talking about or what articles or like Twitter feeds or scraping Twitter to see what people have talked about in the last week with the whole pandemic going on. And I don't have the website. I wish I did. The only thing I could find, nothing to confirm that it was or wasn't on anymore, but I do remember the thing from Elon that you're referring to, Franklin. But what I did stumble on is some guy had a website going. I think it was not a website. Change.org, I guess, is one of those petition websites where you drum up enough interest or following to do a petition. And he was trying to get a petition going to have Investor Day on April 20th. Now, I know that's been talked about on Twitter and stuff like that in the past, but this guy went to all the trouble and he's getting a petition going. And, I mean, say what you want to say about petitions. I mean, everyone gets a petition for almost anything these days, but I thought it was pretty cool. He went to a lot of trouble, and I forget, like I said, I wish I had the website up. It had quite a bit of, in my opinion at least, quite a bit of people that signed a petition to have Investor Day on there. And, we all know Elon the way he is.
He loves his dates and really and funny,
little inside humor. Yeah. So I can see it being.
It's possible. The last thing we got about Battery Day was on March 18th, which said, "Will you stream Battery Day?" And he said, "Yeah." So, I mean, that was 13 days ago that it's still being streamed. He didn't say it's gonna, it's gonna be delayed or anything. And I imagine that they're gonna do it, even if it's just him and like the four. If it runs like the full autonomy day one, whereas like Elon and like three other people specialize in their fields, and you got like a really in-depth analysis, it'd be like four of them, which is like a good decent sized number where you can still be like socially distant, and they can still operate and run it all online. So I don't know. Based off Elon's tweet, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you look back at the other one they did, you were just referring to, I mean, other than near the end when Elon came on and basically took over the show and started doing questions and everything, really all the speakers that came up, they had the stage to themselves, so they were, I guess, isolated or
yeah, they're all specialized in a certain area, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to imagine it'll be running similar. That's probably one of the best. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch the full autonomy day. It's fairly lengthy. I think it's like 3 hours. But that's probably like one of the best conferences I've seen that Tesla's hosted.
Yeah, it's so
I really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I could. I've heard a lot of other people say it, and I can say the same thing. A lot of that stuff went way over my head. There's a joke there. I know. There's a short joke there, but
the nerd in me loved that. Like I was so immersed.
Nerded out, eh?
Oh yeah, it was great. But I know how you feel because I was watching the Neuralink one, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And I maybe understood like 5% of what they're talking, if that. That's being generous to myself, and I still found it cool. So like, man, I really wish I could understand the science stuff a little better.
Well, that's how you learn, right? You don't need to have to understand things to find it entertaining. You could just be learning about things, and find it entertaining. I know, I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with learning something new, right?
For sure.
So we're here for it. But getting back to the Investor Day, this one in April, I mean, don't they do for most of their, or if not all their earning calls, they do it over the phone or online when they get their questions? So they can have the media have all the questions remotely.
So I think, I think the questions will be done remotely. Think about it this way too. So with all these stocks going down, that Battery Day event's going to like bring the Tesla stock back up pretty high, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
It's kind of a way to rebound the stock back to the level where it was before all the shutdowns and stuff. So it's kind of in Tesla's benefit to run it.
Yeah, sure. No, that's a good point. I never thought about that. Yeah. I mean, we saw what happened last week when, and don't quote me on numbers here, folks, but there was at some point within the last 2 weeks when everything was tanking, and I think Tesla dipped below 400. And then shortly after, when they said they were going to get involved with what are they called, ventilators and stuff like that, and I think they got the big shipment they went over and got the big shipment from China and brought them over. The next day their stock shot up.
Yeah.
Now, that can't be, I don't know, maybe it is.
I don't know if it's connected or not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if that's a coincidence, and I can't say for sure, but the uneducated part of me, I would think that that's not it. That's not a coincidence. So yeah,
I don't know. Hate him or love him, Elon Musk does so much good, or at least tries to.
Yeah. Oh, I think he redeemed himself. But I know we touched on it, and I don't want to get into it too deeply this week, but we touched on it last week about whether it was a flop or not, about his whole decision and the fighting to have the closure.
Well, did you hear? Who was it? Was it GM or Ford? They're trying to like profit off their ventilators that they're being forced to make.
Oh yeah, I heard. I sort of a quick thing is like they're trying to charge a lot for it.
Yeah, like when I say profit, I mean like profit.
Yeah.
Where Tesla's like, hey, we're going to do this out of the goodness of our hearts. All right, it's good publicity, but It's crazy how the difference, right?
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to get too political here, but I get it. Everything costs something, and manufacturing costs. You can do it for free, but if you're doing it on a big scale, no one expects you to do it for free. But at the same time, like, are you really gonna, because it's a government contract, are you really gonna
Try to nickel and dime them?
just give it to the government? I don't know.
Yeah, especially considering the government built them. Anyway,
Yeah, that's yeah. We won't go down that path. Okay, and then the next question, which I found very, very interesting. I'm just gonna bring it up here. That's not it. I did that wrong. The next question is from, I think the guy's name is, I want to say Bill, or was the other one Bill? Yeah, it's Bill. Now, when I first heard this question, I was like, what is he talking about? But I was thinking, and it actually started to make sense. And I'll tell you where I think he got it from, because there's a relation to this. So anyways, the question here is, will there be an extension cord for the Cybertruck to allow it to charge more easily at the superchargers while towing? Thanks, Bill. Yeah, like I said, on the face of it, when you just hear it, you're like, an extension cord? Like, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to have that, that mobile wall connector or mobile connector like all Teslas have, right? So is that what he's talking about? Like, is he thinking they won't include it because how with the 3s and the Ys now, they're not including the 1450 adapter, and they're just including just the one for the 110? And then I was thinking, and a big credit going out to Ride Lighting, I think it was this week's episode, and I think this is where the question from Bill came along. Somebody had asked a similar question where they were saying, or maybe it wasn't even a question, it was a suggestion, where they were saying that with the problem that they're already going to probably face, and some X's are facing already, when you're towing and you're coming into a supercharger, you can use those drive-in slots, but sometimes they're not even too feasible and usable. So basically, you find you see a lot of pictures online where a Model X goes almost in like a jackknife angle and takes up to get charged on the left-hand side. They'll end up taking up like 4 or 5 spots, depending on how long the trailer is.
It's not even their fault, because
no, it's not. And a lot of those pictures you see. I mean, I saw one just recently, a couple of nights ago. A lot of times these supercharger locations are empty, right?
Yeah, it's like you're saying. At least a lot of the superchargers here, they don't have that drive-in slot.
No.
So it's really hit and miss in that circumstance.
Yeah. So what this caller, or what Ryan was talking about on his podcast, was somebody thought like that Tesla should develop some kind of extension cord that plugs into the Cybertruck, but also is long enough that you don't have to go like on that kind of jackknife angle. You can back in or go beside it. Yeah,
take off whatever you're towing, right?
Well, not even to take it. I guess you could take it off, but I mean, if you take it off, then you don't have that problem at the end of the day, right? But just to stay attached or stay hitched to your whatever your towing vehicle, or not the tow vehicle, which would be the Cybertruck, but whatever you're towing, you stay hitched to it, because anyone that knows that tows, to detach your trailer from your tow vehicle can take some time, and then to hook it back up, I mean, you're already taking time out to supercharge, and all the gas people will say, well, you've lengthened your trip by having to stop to charge up your car.
So
but then
that like podcast thing we did with me, you, Anthony, and Mark about the Cybertruck, the lengthy one you did a really good job editing. I think we talked about this in there. This was like right after the Cybertruck got unveiled. And one of the things that we brought up at the time was, wouldn't the extension cord slow down the state of charge? Or like,
well, and I do vaguely remember now that you brought that up, that our discussion on that. And this is something that Ryan brought up, is like, okay, you wouldn't get the V3 speeds because it's a water-cooled cable and everything. So you wouldn't be able to get that kind of technology, obviously, in an extension cord. But even if you do get regular V2 speeds, that's pretty good. And if you can have an extra 20 feet or 30 feet, that might make a big difference. I know.
Glenn brought up something good.
Yeah, I was watching what Glenn was saying. To redesign supercharge stations.
Yeah, they don't need to redesign them all. Just like a single stall or 2 stalls.
Yeah,
like even 1 stall is a lot for.
But I get it. But do you think that would be more feasible and more realistic to redesign, like you said, just 1 or 2 stalls, or design some kind of extension cabling system to combat that problem with the Cybertruck when you're towing? Or we're all like, I think, did we not see for sure where the charge port was on the Cybertruck?
It's on the left side, I believe.
And like how all the typical Teslas are, right?
Yeah,
and it's on the back.
Yeah.
Could it be where maybe they may rethink that and maybe put one on the front, like Rivian?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
because then you can just drive in.
You just drive forward in. Yeah, as long as you're straight with your trailer, your boat, or whatever you're towing, as long as you're dead straight, then you wouldn't have that issue.
Well, I see like one of 2 ways. That's a good solution, actually. So there's definitely a couple of ways to go around this. Put it at the front, which is kind of solves everything. An extension cord, which would be cool because they don't need to include it mandatory. It can be like an extra add-on where they actually, still profit off of it, because not everyone's going to need it, right?
Yeah. Oh, trust me, buddy. If they charge $1,000 for that, which I mean, if it's a good 20-foot cord or something like that, it should cost a fair penny. But if they charge $1,000 for that and it's feasible, people that tow that want to use that, you will buy it. Buy it. There'll be no demand issue there.
And then the other thing is, I was thinking, is like Glenn's idea is good. They're going around redoing all the superchargers now to V3s, or like that's the plan, right? To eventually convert them all.
Yeah.
So while they're doing the conversion, that would be like the best time to include this extra specialized Cybertruck charger, right?
No, that's true. And I thought when you first said it, I thought they'd just go strictly for that. But you're right. If they're retrofitting, they're going back and retrofitting all these, or new ones that they're making, which we all know are going to be V3s anyways. V3 for the cable that's obviously water cooled or liquid cooled, that's attached to the charger itself, and then from there, if you can get an extension cord and it's only V2 and it gets thicker, and obviously with software you'd be able to detect what it is, right? And you'd be able to the software or the truck would be able to adjust the voltage accordingly.
Well, their software is incredible in terms of how it detects stuff.
Yeah.
Does the Semi use the same superchargers? They have mega chargers, is what they're talking about for semis.
Yeah, and they've talked about that, but we haven't seen anything about that yet. What Ryan was also saying in his podcast is, I haven't seen it, but I remember hearing somebody talk about it. It's a special charging cable that they use for the Semi, where it branches off, I think is how someone described it. So if they're using that at a supercharger for the semi-truck, why couldn't they do something, specialized for the Cybertruck? Yeah. They're gonna if they want to tout this as a towing vehicle that you can go on road trips with, they're gonna have to come up with some solution for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and leave it up to Tesla. Rest assured, they probably will. I mean,
I think they already have the solution. We just kind of have to wait and see what.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's like somebody in the industry hinted to it within the last couple of weeks. I remember reading something somewhere saying that there's so many things that Cybertruck's going to do that people don't know about, that it's going to blow our mind. I don't quote me, they didn't use the words blow your mind, but I'm just ad-libbing that part. But basically what we saw on stage, and we talked about this already, to what it actually will be not that they'll be completely different. I'm not talking design-wise. I'm just talking functionality and features. I think we haven't scratched the surface of what the thing's going to be able to do.
Like, in theory, couldn't you just like, if your tire pressure is low, you use the air compressor built in to like pump up your own tires?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know it sounds dumb, but like just small stuff like that, just so fascinating, right?
Yeah, no, there's already trucks out there that do that have the air suspension and the little not a little, sometimes it's a big tank and the compressor, and yeah, you can just
But I feel like we're gonna get a lot of those small little things on this, where it wouldn't be possible otherwise.
Yeah. Speaking of little features, we're going to end off the podcast soon. I know we're at the 1:15 mark, and I don't want to go much longer in the next 5 minutes, unless you have something else to say, Franklin. Huh. There was this feature I've seen it in 2 commercials for GMC for their Sierra. I guess it's their new Sierra, where they're showing all these different features on it. And one of them, they show you, it's just like a quick 2-second clip of it within I think this commercial itself is 15 or 30 seconds, where they're showing you a backup camera screen, and you can see what you're towing behind you. And in the one I saw, it was a travel trailer. It was an RV, and you see the hitch and the receiver, and the trailer is hooked up to the truck, and you see just like a blank wall, because really at the end of the day, if you put a backup camera, that's what you're going to see. You're going to just see a blank wall behind you. You're not going to be able to see behind you, really, behind the actual trailer. But then I guess they flip to another scene where I guess you press a button, and that wall of the trailer goes invisible. And when I say invisible, basically transparent, and you're now able to see what's behind the trailer. It looks
cool.
It looks totally cool. It reminded me of something out of like Terminator or something, just like how it sort of dissolved from the trailer, and you can see what was behind it. Obviously, they're using, I think we talked about this on one of our podcasts, or maybe just our conversation. They're obviously using some kind of wireless camera, obviously on the back of the trailer.
Yeah.
And it's incorporated, it's getting the signals being sent back to the car, and it's within the software, it's rendering it or lining it up and stuff like that with the curbs and stuff like that, that when it shows it, it looks seamless.
That's
it looks really cool.
That's what I'm saying. It's tech like that. That's so like,
yeah,
so small, but makes a world of difference, right?
Tesla's got to do something like that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and even if they don't release with it, that's the cool part. They have the capability later.
Yeah, it's a little hardware piece that your camera, you hardwire it, or even if it's battery operated, you mount it to the back of the trailer. Because like I said, they do have them, aftermarket companies, third-party companies have them right now for trailers, where they have a little suction mount and a little screen that's outside of, that's beside, not beside, it's not outside, it's not beside, it's not part of the car is what I'm saying. It's not integrated part of the car that just goes on the windshield with a suction cup. And you can see what's behind the trailer, but nothing seamless as
I think
what I saw at GMC.
Like, those are the kind of things we're going to have. Like, Tesla's probably going to make these type of accessories that work with the software built in. It's
all integrated. Yeah, integrated. Yeah,
and it'd be a really seamless experience. And Tesla's very like interested in vertical alignment, where like they want to control every aspect of the process.
Yep.
So I mean, it works out fairly well for the most part. There's some things they can do better, but for the most part, they do a good job. So
exactly. Well, that basically wraps it up.
Can we address Joe's question? Joe from Canada.
Joe, you wanna? Okay.
Yeah. So Joe asked some really technical questions. Make a long story short, I'm not going to read out the questions.
Thanks for the question, Joe.
Joe, we appreciate the questions. You even mentioned on Twitter when I talked to you about it, you said that the only way your questions can be answered is by tearing down the car. So please tear down your car. My Elon Musk is disappearing here in the background. Please tear down your car and let us know.
Franklin?
Yeah.
I think he wanted you to tear down your car.
But anyway, just wanted to address it, because if you guys ask a question, we will get to it. It just, some questions are much harder to answer.
Exactly. We do our best. And yeah, as an in-depth technical question like Joe that had there, we may not be able to get to it. But for the most part.
Software related, more technical software related, and I'm all over it.
Yeah.
Technical hardware, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you still planning a Western Canada trip this summer? My trip originally was to go out to the factory tour.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening.
Everything's on hold, man. Everything. Life for most people is on hold right now. So yeah.
I don't even know if we'll be going across allowed across the border and stuff.
No, who knows?
I don't know what the state of. So honestly, my plan was yes, obviously. I just don't know. We'll see. I still want to head out Western Canada to meet you and some others, and but I'm not sure, to be honest, Glenn. So.
Yeah. Well, on that sobering note.
I'm sorry.
No, buddy, it's not your fault. What do you need to apologize for? It's life, right? It's what we all are going through, and that's the beauty. Not the beauty. I guess beauty is a bad word for it, but that is the thing that's the common denominator. No matter how much money you have, and I know I touched on this last week. No matter how much money you have or how poor you are, we're all in this together, and we're all experiencing it together. Yeah, I guess if you have money, it's a little more comfortable, but that doesn't make you invincible.
Yeah, it is what it is, and I really enjoy doing these podcasts because it's kind of like a really good mental break.
Yeah,
and I know we kind of bring it up, and there's jokes about toilet paper and stuff like that, but it's good because it's like a mental break, and it really gets you away from
what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on? Okay.
And you need that. Yeah, I think we need the escape because really, you can turn on any kind of media, TV or internet, and you're inundated. Just no shortage of COVID news, right? I mean, you can find it anywhere. And I know we talked about it, and we talked about articles or topics related to it, and it's just because it's related to it, right? It's current stuff. I don't want to talk about stuff that happens.
Really interesting news things that go uncovered, kind of covered because the whole COVID thing is taking priority.
Yeah.
And there's some really interesting stuff that's happening. So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just being optimistic. Hopefully, we're not in this for too much longer. It won't be Easter. Get that out of your mind right now, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, we are doing this as a way of escaping, I guess.
Temporarily.
Temporarily, yeah. Even if it's for an hour and 20 minutes, we can do it, right? So with that said, I appreciate everyone tuning in, whether you've tuned in live here or you watch this on a rebroadcast or on the audio part of it. I appreciate everyone tuning in and everyone's support. We'll try to keep doing this every week. And most importantly, I appreciate our guests like Franklin that took the time out of his night to come on, and all the other guys from week to week. And next week we'll have different people and same people and new people. Like, you never know. So thanks again, Franklin, for coming on. I know I thank you every week, but I can never thank you enough. You want to give your website a plug or your YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure. My YouTube channel is Mother Frunker on Twitter, M Frunker. Actually in the process of starting a new YouTube channel called MF Tech Talks. No ripoff of your channel at all. And I don't know how often I'll upload to it. Tomorrow will be my first video, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, stay tuned for that, folks.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. Now, it has no coincidence or no correlation of it being April 1st?
That's what the whole first video is all about.
Oh, okay, cool. See, I honestly didn't even know that. That's pretty cool.
All based off tech and April Fools.
Oh, cool.
A lot of companies canceled their April Fools.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, which I understand why they did it, but again, it would have been kind of cool to just keep people's mind off of stuff, and I don't know.
You know what? When this is all over with, they can keep their campaign or their videos or whatever they were going to do, and just like everything else in life, it can be postponed, and we can do it another time. We don't have to cancel it all together. We can do it another time.
Well, we're gonna have a new April Fool's Day. You heard that here first on the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
No, that's speaking. I know I said tell us about your website, and what I meant was the YouTube channel, but you do actually have a website.
I do,
yeah, and
it's a web app for your car, motherfrunker.ca/app.
How's that going?
Traffic's on it still like ridiculously high.
Yeah.
The last software update that Tesla did broke my app a little bit.
Okay.
I have not been able to fix it. I do not know how. I don't know what Tesla did to mess up my app, so I've been trying to figure it out. Essentially, like quite a bit. I'm kind of at the point where I kind of want to recode the whole entire thing from scratch.
Oh, damn.
Because originally when I started, I didn't plan to make it what it is. So just kind of quick sneak peek. My plan is to make it into an actual store where people can, when I say store, I mean like free apps, obviously.
Yeah, I know you. You'll never charge.
No, where developers can actually create their own apps and include them into my app. So it's like developer friendly is what the plan is. So we'll see.
Like an open source type of thing?
Yeah, so pretty much like any developer out there could make an app, and I'll be using your app tomorrow on my drive to Vancouver. Oh, cool. Thanks, Glenn. So yeah, pretty much like anyone can use the app to submit their own little applications and stuff. That's where I'm headed with it. So there hasn't been many updates on it because I'm kind of reworking on this whole new platform.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, what app we're talking about, how can people find it in the car?
Just motherfrunker.ca/app.
Just Google that and you'll find it. Or that's the direct URL, I guess, right?
Yeah, if you Google it, it comes up too.
So many useful resources on that. I mean, from simple things that I use almost on a daily basis, a simple thing like a calculator. I pull that up all the time and use it, right? And to little simple pastime that pass a couple minutes here or there, little web-based games.
So, and there's no data that I store. Like, I store literally nothing. It's all stored on your car. So
that's good to know too for anyone that may be wondering or concerned.
I have like zero data. The only data I collect is Google Analytics, just to see how many people are using it, when they're using it, what pages and stuff. So I kind of have an idea what to update first.
Yeah.
When things break, but yeah.
I can tell you, folks, rest assured, Franklin is a stand-up guy. There's no nefarious bone in his body. There's no reason or need for him to collect your data if you're paranoid about that. And rightfully so. I can understand if you're paranoid, but I can, you know, you don't have to believe me either, but I can tell you that he's not doing this for any bad reason.
I'll talk about it openly now because it's been long enough. I actually got a job offer from Tesla because of the app.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they reached out to me. A engineer at Tesla who is fairly high up, because I was reading his resume before I contacted him. His resume is like ridiculous. So I was like, man, this guy's contacting me. So anyway, went back and forth, and it didn't materialize, the job offer I got, but I did get one.
Awesome.
So it's kind of interesting that they actually reach out to people.
Recruiting you, yeah.
Yeah, so
you heard it here, folks. You heard it here, first, folks. It's late. That's awesome news. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's just something that happened like 6 months ago, and I kind of like kept to myself because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. That's why they killed your web app. I know they said join us or we're going to kill it. It didn't actually go down that way.
Is that blackmail?
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was just like a little fun.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with the entire world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just didn't work, right? Logistically and everything else. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, once again, folks, as Franklin tells us his darkest and deepest secrets, I think I might need to take control of the show here and end it off here before he tells us something that maybe the RCMP might have to listen to. I'm kidding.
I've already spoken to them, Dax. We're good.
Whoa. Folks, I'm kidding. Thanks for watching. We will catch you here next week. Possibly the same time, maybe earlier. you know, there's no exact time or date for this, but I try to do it weekly. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.